back in 2009, we met Carl, Nandazal, Matilda and Yanis, and they came to my office for an interview. And Nandazal believes that Stonehenge might be a giant clock, which seems a bit strange to me, but it could have been. Yanis chose not to answer my question about alien life, but I'm pretty sure he knows more than he's telling me. Back to now, the winter of 2012, and the nights are quite long now. Carl, Matilda, Nandazal and Yanis are approached by members of their own factions and asked if they want to be part of an interfaction coterie, which they all agree to. Prince Nathaniel of the Camarilla addresses the court to deliver the news of 4 such coteries being formed, and the prince looked a bit overwhelmed and out of it. I mean, he mentioned Neve of all people. So Baron Roger Smith takes Nathaniel's place on the stage and continues with the announcement. And Carl, Matilda, Nandazal and Yanis are put in charge of the Loch-Lees domain, and then they leave the court to go and check it out. Yanis receives everyone in his haven, shows them around a bit, and they agree that Matilda will go and see the lawkeeper to get their responsibilities. Carl and Yanis will look at the boundaries with the cartographer, and Nandazal will mark out the territory with iconography to avoid trespassers. Teach will build a tunnel for Nandazal within the domain, and no one will know about that, but I'll know about it. Carl also paints a beautiful map of the domain, which he printed on a postcard and sent to me, which is quite pretty, and I've received a few now. Months later, the coterie finds out that London has fallen, but what does that really mean?
Hello and welcome to the episode 2 of Blood on the Severn, a Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle set on Bristol, England in 2012. With me tonight,
Bex playing Nandazal of the Ministry.
Peter playing Janusz Kroll of Clan Jimitsu.
Josh playing Carl Frédéric Saint-Jacques de Taureau of Clan Toreador.
Alice playing Matilda Wells of Clan Ventru.
So last week had the events of the Coterie being formed. Now, first and foremost, I did a little boo-boo, but I will blame my English for it. The area that the Coterie has their domain on is Loch-Lees, not Henlees. Henlees is next to Southmead Hospital. Henlees is the area of the hospital. The Coterie are in Loch-Lees. But they're similar and they sound the same. No entiendo, señor.
It's fair.
English muy complicated. So
much for all that homework I did then, Carlos. Thank you.
I'm really sorry. So we're gonna retcon it. But yes, it's the Loch-Lees area. They have been going around it and having a look at it. So it's been a few months since the Coterie has been established. And
Boss, does that mean I can have my willpower back?
Everybody has their willpower back. Everybody has their things. So don't worry about those. But in the meantime, as I said when we finished the session last week, news will come of a great tragedy that takes place outside of Bristol. Now, we're going to go to each one of you and what you have been doing in the nights just preceding that moment. And we're going to start with Nandazal.
So, I think I will have spent some time figuring out what there is in this domain, making sure I understand the area, making sure it's secure. I think beyond that, I'll have been dealing with trying to set myself up trying to kind of, not re-establish, but establish my business as a going concern in the city.
So you would have been able to first mark the territory. It's quite important for what you need to do in the regarding the iconography. Making sure that people don't trespass into your new domain, And it is not as difficult as it looks. Yes, a big chunk of Anarch territory has been carved out for this domain. But it turns out it is the the area of the Anarch territory that is overseen by someone who Matilda is, well acquainted with. It's Jacinta's territory is right next to you guys, so it's easier for you to navigate that area. And then the Camarilla territory, with mostly residential areas and all the like, it's quite easy to demarcate. Getting stuff up and down, easy. The roads.
I mean, I'll sort my tunnel out if I can, for sure.
In this period of time, the tunnel will be set. A little bit of a smuggler's tunnel that will get right to the grounds near Janus's domain. I don't know if it was inside Janus's.
Yeah, well, it was if you would let it be.
Yes. So not his house, but in the grounds.
Not his house. That would be weird.
Because you have to remember, like, Janus's haven is not just the mansion that the derelict mansion that's there. It's also a big plot of land, like big, where he has the kennels and lots of space for his dogs, but also a big place where he meets with other people to do like little festivals and parties and like.
Can I assume that he will have been quite specific about where it needs to come out in the land? Like, I can't have just put it anywhere.
He would have said different areas. He would have suggested different areas that he was happy for you to engage with your things. Sorry for that. And you would have talked to Teach and get that tunnel sorted in the one that you believe is best, that will get you closest to an area, probably the M32, because your domain goes through, like, it's like really next to it, so maybe you can access it on alongside the M32, the motorway, so you can take things by land now in and out of Bristol like quite quick, because you lost access to major waterways inside the domain, but you can move them inside of Bristol and then put them in the harbor, so it's not a problem.
Okay. I will also just spend time getting to know my various coterie mates.
Okay.
Whether or not they think that's a positive thing is up to them.
Well, Carl did ask you if you could play the guitar for the community theater play he organized in Lockleys. It's just amateur, like just people.
Well,
like
it's semi-professional, really. I thought it would be in co-production with the old Vic, and so
yes, because you're getting George involved, right?
And so I'm getting George, who's one of my touchstones, involved.
Yes.
He's my old acting teacher from the Bristol Old Vic.
Brilliant.
So he will be co-directing with me. The idea that we're going to do King Lear, because then we've got the three daughters, and we're rewriting it and updating it. But the idea is that for those kindred involved, they might see some similarities between the factions of the three daughters and the three warring factions in Bristol. And the fact that they all come together at the end, kind of. Well, they don't. They're all dead. But anyway, I'll be playing King Lear, obviously, in stage makeup to make me look extra old. Blow winds and crack thy cheeks, etc. And obviously, everybody else can get involved in whatever way they wish. I'm kind of hoping that Janus would play Gloucester or Kent, to be honest. But but Nanj will definitely be playing guitar. I was thinking
I'm not playing number 3 guitar. You got to play number 1 guitar.
You'd be playing number 1 guitar, absolutely. Right. Well, the idea is that whoever plays the Fool will have a guitarist for when they sing the Fool's songs, and we're going to be updating those as well. No, you're not. No, exactly. You're the Fool's guitarist. So what that makes you, I don't know. And obviously, I will be asking Matilda to get involved in this as well. In whatever
acting
way.
Or
stage management, acting, organising the various extras.
Tickets on the door.
Tickets on the door.
Right.
Perfect.
Invited Hannah.
I'm not telling her that there isn't a door, because it's open air and it's all over Lockleys, and it's site specific.
You're making it really easy for a stage manager, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. course.
So on the days preceding the play, Nangisel finds herself in Hannah's house. Could you please describe Hannah?
God, no,
Hannah
I haven't
Parks?
thought before about what she's looked like at all. Let's see. How do I imagine Hannah? I think Hannah has kind of quite long blonde hair. She is a wheelchair user, so she is fairly strong in terms of her upper body strength, and she's fairly active. Otherwise than that, I think she's got blue eyes. She is a big RPG gamer,
Okay.
so she plays a lot of RPGs and board games.
And board games.
Yeah.
He says, well, so how's it going? Have you practiced your songs for the play?
Well, I have practiced a bit, haven't I? But I mean, it's stuff I know, so I don't think there's like a lot of practice what's needed. I mean, you wrote me, and Carl says I'm really good, so
you have to practice. You have to. I mean, doesn't matter how good you are, because I know you're good. You have to practice.
Well, you listen to me. You listen to me play all the time, don't you?
Yeah. But those songs you're playing with friends and you're playing with your heart. This is a play. I mean,
Well,
it's
what's
like
the difference?
well, it's like Bristol City. If they practice more, they would be good.
Oh, shut up! Shut up! That was all just a gag, wasn't it? You just had to get that in here.
I mean, they lost last week.
Hey, listen. We might have lost once, but you lot lose 5 times for every time we lose.
Yeah,
that's why you nearly got kicked out of the league last year. That's all I'm saying. How is it possible, in all the things that have happened to me in my life, I then being friends with Gasshead? That is not the way I fucking thought my life would turn out, Anne. That's why.
Don't look at me. Don't look at me for having good taste in teams, okay? Don't look at me.
So you reckon?
It's your fault. It's your fault. You follow. I mean, of all the teams.
What? We're
City,
good. We're better than you.
The Rovers. The Rovers were sad. Come on.
Well, I reckon we got to keep quiet on this, right? Because I'm never going to convince you, am I? You're this side of the city, which means you're the side what don't support the good teams. You're going to come see me in this play, anyhow.
Yeah, sure, but
what?
Well, it's I had a checkup earlier in that day, and I'm gonna be a little bit ways away.
Well, do you want me to come get you?
Well, if you can.
Of course I can.
Oh, excellent.
No problem. I don't know. I assume Carl will tell me when I'm meant to be on. But otherwise than that, I don't assume I've got to be there.
Okay.
So I can drive. Well, no, wait, I can't drive. I'll sort you out with a cab, or I'll get someone to come pick you up. Are you over
at this point, you get a text saying, Nange, where are you? We're rehearsing. We need you.
Look at my phone and go, apparently Carl needs me there even on days when I'm not doing it. Yeah.
What? What's wrong?
He's saying he wants me up there now.
Why?
I'm just texting back saying I'm chatting to you. I'll text him back saying I'm chatting to Hannah.
You just get a text with the eye roll emote.
I'll text Carl and say, Carl, have you got a car? Can you bring Hannah to the play?
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Come
I
on,
can
guys now.
I'll say, I'll text back and I'll say, of course, for our number one musician, anything is possible.
Okay, excellent. I'll say, where's you need picking up from? Is it down Southmead?
Yes. So I'm not going to be that far away. I'm going to be there in Southmead Hospital.
Wait, do you need someone to come with you to this appointment?
No, it's okay. I've been not feeling well, but it's routine. It's just checkup.
All right.
I might be getting probably. I'm trying to sort out like a new wheelchair that is a little bit more comfortable in the back, because this one is like, this is new, and I'm happy and I'm glad you helped me. We went and picked it up, but it's a little too stiff on the back, and then if I don't know.
Do you know what model the new one is? Because
Yes.
I'm sure I can sort it out for you.
No. Well, I'm going there to do that. Like, they're gonna see me and the traumatologist in the car, the the people are gonna help me out. Mostly the traumatologist. He wants to see if they want to make sure that I'm not doing any like long-lasting damage to my spine if I'm like sitting in the wrong position.
You think this chair is doing you damage?
No, I'm saying it's uncomfortable, and then I end up a little sore. That's why I'm going early.
All right. Well, let me know if you want me to come, right?
Yeah, sure.
Sometimes it's better because sometimes these doctors don't always tell you everything you want to know. Sometimes you've got another person there who's prepared to tell things like it is.
I don't know what's your distrust with them. Like doctors, I've been seeing doctors most of my life, Nudge. I trust them, and I know which ones are good and which ones aren't.
All right, mate. All right.
But if I need a new wheelchair,
yeah, you let me know, right?
Something
I'm
robotic.
Yeah. You could get one of them ones what drives itself around.
I have no money for that. Who do you think I am, Stephen Hawking?
What? I mean, there's ways of getting things, right? There's,
It's kind of expensive. It's pricey because also you drive them like a little joystick. I mean, I love joystick games and flight simulators, but I'm not prepared for the space age. Also, to live all my money in it.
Oh, I run my own business. I can afford things like this. If you need it, then you can have it. That's the way it is. See what this doctor says, what you need, and then I can sort it out for you.
Oh my god, you are ever the optimist, the hope.
What? You're my best friend, mate.
Yeah,
that's what.
And it's lovely, and I am appreciative, and I love you for it. But still, it is that sometimes you have to realize that your optimism and your hope are not well placed, like your love and devotion for Bristol City. And
it always comes back to it, doesn't it? Jesus Christ! I don't even know why I think you might care about things like this. Well, Anna, Carl's on at me about going over there, so I better get over there. But I'll let you, or you let me know and tell me where you want picking up, and I'll send Carl to get you.
Thank you. I will.
All
practice.
All right. You practice supporting a better team then. How's that? Then I'll be.
Yeah, she's gonna just laugh out loud. You leave. You lock the door behind you. You have a key.
Before I go, and
Yeah. You have it just stuff, and you leave Hannah there for a while. While Nan Giselle is on her way, Carl is having a conversation with George ahead of the rehearsal. Could you please describe George?
George is a sprightly 70-year-old. He doesn't really look 70. He looks kind of maybe in his late 50s, early 60s. But he's obviously looked after himself. He's been doing his Alexandra technique every day for his whole adult life. And he still teaches at the Bristol Old Vic. He's kind of sort of an elder statesman there now. He teaches the history of the theatre rather than actually anything hands-on, but he knows everything about the theatre, and he is a lovely man.
Okay, so he is having a conversation mostly about the dialogues you're going and the changes, because you want the sisters to be reminiscent of the factions for those who are in the know. Yes.
So they're a lot more. Goneril and Regan are a lot more sympathetic than they are in the original, and Cordelia is less so. So that they're much more equal. But Cordelia still obviously leaves. We can leave the plot as it is for those that know it. It's obviously very tragic. But yeah, so we're discussing the dialogue, and I say to George, and I think we've got a really good dynamic, particularly in the opening scene where Lear gives away the country in the effect of this Bristol, and he splits it up and gives it to his daughters. I really like the way it's come together, that you're not quite sure who you want to support in that. It's I think it's going well. I think and I had my doubts.
It gives you that. It's like like tug of war of feelings
Yes, exactly.
that we
Exactly. It puts you through the ringer. At one point, you are sympathetic with Lear for being thrown out by his daughters, but then, on the other hand, because we've got so many extras, the knights are so rowdy that you can totally sympathise with the two sisters that they want to get rid of this man with his army because he's no longer the king.
So what we would like to, maybe we would like to experiment having the audience having the extras being a little bit more of a unified front of a
Yes.
something like Giuseppe Verdi's Aida with the Ethiopian and the armies and the people, and they were, of course, no one is singing at unison, but that emotion.
Exactly. Well, what we've got at the moment is that we've got all the families who are willing to do it, who are from Landseer Avenue. They're all supporting Goneril, and all the ones from Thornycroft Close are supporting Regan. And then the ones from Bonington Walk are the French army when they arrive with Cordelia in Act 4. That's kind of the idea, so that they have a kind of tribalism based on their street. I'm hoping no fights will break out. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they might.
No, I don't think so.
That's the plan.
I do believe we could do something here that is quite interesting. Also, I have seen a couple of people in like this that have approached me and said that they are interested in doing this a little bit more seriously in their lives.
Oh, good.
And they have you to thank, Carl.
Well, that's excellent news. I'm just trying to make the cultural life of Lockleys sing. Really, that's the point.
Yeah,
as well as getting all my friends involved.
There is it's a young mother, and I believe he's a 15, 16-year-old. He's a teenage son, and both of them are really keen on going together as a mother and son activity. Probably having one of my Saturday classes, my weekend, classes, because she works, he studies, but then they can have one day a week in which they can come and do stuff. And apparently the lady likes to sing, and the chap is quite good at dancing. So maybe musicals is where they would like to support us. We are always in the look for extras in musicals. Good. So
yeah, that would be excellent. I mean, I wonder if this young fellow, if he works, then we could see him perhaps one day going to the theatre school. That would be wonderful.
I mean, he's young enough, and let's see if he has any talent. But I think what I want to say very badly, Carl, and he approaches you and puts his hands in your shoulders and say, I think this is a wonderful thing. And you remind me of that spark and passion your father had when he was my student.
Yes, I know. He is sorely missed. But yes, I'm hoping that it's such a wonderful place. I'd never been to Lockleys before, just a couple of months ago. But there's so much potential here. There's people are interested in this. I thought they'd just all stay in the pubs, but enough of them have become really interested in this that I think we'll have a really good community play. And obviously there are various extremely good actors who have agreed to play the leads as well.
Yes.
So I think we're in good shape.
I like it because it's less threatening and also less overwhelming. Mm-hmm. If the leads are played by people who have done this in the past, then others feel less exposed. They have secondary roles, they have extras roles, and they get to get a taste.
Well, quite, and if they have been to the Old Vic pantomime, they might have seen some of the lead performers on stage, so that they understand that they're kind of that they're doing Lockleys a favour by coming here.
Yes, absolutely. It's good to see people working hard to make something.
Exactly.
We like.
Fantastic. Mm-hmm.
Make it fantastic. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think we get into this rehearsal, and then we're a few days away from general rehearsal with costumes and everything. Let's see how it turns out.
Absolutely. I think that they've been working so hard. The seamstresses, it's just been amazing what they've been getting up to. Although we have obviously asked most of the extras to make their own costumes. We've given them templates for the different armies, but they have come up with some rather strange-looking sort of chainmail shirts and the like. But I'm sure we can get away with it. It'll all be marvelous.
Let's get working on that then.
Absolutely.
And he starts moving with you towards the rest.
Oh, good. And I say, attention, everybody. George is here. Wisdom abounds.
And the performance goes as expected. So it's not a. So sorry. The rehearsal goes as expected. Not a problem there.
And I will ask towards the end of it. I will see if Matilda's around, and I will ask her if she doesn't, because I know, we've been together for a while now, and I'll ask her if she doesn't mind giving Nanja's friend a lift, because she's the only one who's got a car, as far as I know.
I'll ask for the address. Also, do you mind just keep an eye on the prop table? The actors,
of course,
keep coming up
yeah,
and
I know
touching
they're
and
terrible. I mean, they're like little magpies.
I mean, I keep flipping them away, but they just nothing.
Ladies and gentlemen, these props are gold. They must go to the right actors. Please,
That one,
gold.
exactly.
Yes.
just keep doing that. Yeah, it's all right. I'll pick her up now. Do you want now?
Oh, I was thinking more for the performance, really. I mean, I was
yeah.
just giving you a heads up.
Yeah,
Because Nanj asked me, play the guitar well, so she needs her friend to watch her. So I thought the best we could do would be to give her a lift. I mean, we could get her a cab, but I just thought the personal touch.
It's all right. She is getting better, actually. It's
Yeah,
not
she
quite
is.
Doesn't feel as much as an assault on the ears.
Well, the twangling. That's what I like about it.
There's some sort of chaotic harmony in it.
Yeah, it's not. They're kind of like found chords, aren't they? Like she just discovered them on the street.
I've never heard anything like it, actually, but yeah.
But that's the point, you see, because it's the Fool is supposed to be a rolling ball of chaos in this production, and she brings that. I think it's good.
All right, no worries.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks.
Okay, so I think I was mentioning how wholesome and lovely it is for people to be in the grounds around Janice's haven.
Mm-hmm.
Because that little part of the woods, and the slightly forested area with the woods, and the access to the river, very important. It does make a difference in the mood of the people. Like a couple of them even asked for permission to do sort of like an impromptu barbecue right there, since they were going to be doing a couple of bonfires, and some of them had been working really hard for the last few days. So you thought it convenient to reward them with a chance to have that little bit of a social gathering before the important ritual of the night. And tonight is when they all consecrate themselves to Kostroma, the little spirit, the spirit on the river, even though it's in your little river, or what's there of your little river. Kostroma, she's everything. Together with Kopala, together with Perun, together with Orshat, all of them. But Kostroma is the soothing water. The one whose embrace shields you from harm. Zane approaches Janus. Could you please describe him?
Sure. So Zane is a young man. He looks to be about 19 years old. He's quite short for his age, but don't tell him that. He has he's one of those people that has lots and lots of energy and always likes to be kind of doing things and moving about, even if you've asked him to sit still. when he does get into trouble, he has quite a good smile he can develop, produce to try and mitigate the damage that might come his way. And he is one of those young kind of people that just sort of bounces when he falls over and gets back up and just keeps going. And he's kind of full of energy, full of enthusiasm, slightly kind of rounded in the face, and he's got short, a little bit messy black hair, and that's probably and dark eyes as well.
So, Zane approaches you and says, I think everything is ready. This is it, right? Today is I mean, Gareth and Chantel have been talking about, but today is a special day, isn't it? For us, for our religion, for all the children.
Yes, that's right. It is a special day. And do you feel ready for today?
Oh yes, absolutely. Evelina has been helping me a lot, with the details. We didn't want to, be in anyone's way, but
have you been helping Evelina?
Yes, she has been asking me and Wendy to help her with preparations for the actual ritual itself. Although I feel a bit weird of like running without a shirt around, and it's gonna be a cold night. But
trust me, your faith will keep you warm, Zane, and there is nothing to be ashamed of. There is no shame in your own body. That?
Well, I've never been the workout type, and I'm a little self-conscious, but also Wendy said that it was going to be dark, so it's not a problem. But if it's going to be dark and we're going to be in the water, isn't that a little like unsafe? Shouldn't we have like some flotation devices or something? I don't.
Do you think when this rite was begun, they had flotation devices then?
Well, no.
And in all of the years that this has been done, the many, 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 many years, more years, in fact, than you could conceive of in your tender age, do you think we have ever used a flotation device during a sacred ritual?
No. I also don't know if anyone has been hurt.
No one's been hurt.
And you see him breathe, in relief. It's like, sure, fine, excellent. Okay, so I will be prepared. And he starts.
Now,
yes, he lets you speak.
I have been hearing good things, Zane, about you. That you've been applying yourself. I'm very pleased. So I have a question for you. Do you think that you are ready for tonight in your soul?
And at this, his eyes widen, as in, ready? Yes. This is absolutely. I've kept it safe. And
let us see how safe you have kept it.
I will
bring it to me.
I will bring it. Yes. And he just bolts. And not long after, he comes back. He comes back with his satchel, and within the satchel he produces this sort of box that's been wrapped around like hoodies and shirts and stuff, so it's being padded. And he opens it. It's a small wooden box that had a little latch and a combination lock, so it takes forever for him to do it, but then finally he produces it. A jar with something in it. It looks like a honey reddish color, like a resin. It has some bubbles, which tells you that he has tumbled a little bit around in this kid's satchel. But it's there, floating in it. You can see it. This sort of wooden shard that seems to be pulsating with something inside.
Do you see it, Zane?
I've tried, Janice, I've tried. I know you've told me that I could listen and I could hear it, and I thought I would be ready when I did, but
You will be ready when you are ready. But let us see if what you told me was true. Place it to your ear.
He does that.
See if the tongue will whisper.
And he closes his eyes and focuses deeply. Are you feeding from him at this point?
I mean, if I'm hungry, of course.
It's
In this moment where his faith is strong, this is the perfect time
yes,
to feed on
and
him.
you do feel it.
So Jan will probably move kind of and place his hands on his shoulders, and he'll say kind of in his ear, yes, concentrate. That's it.
And
That's
he's there. He will tell you later that he did hear the whispers of the tongue of Kupala, the relic that you have entrusted him to keep. He did hear a whispering. He said, the voice said, let go of your fear. So during the ritual, you know that he is most definitely the one who was completely skinny dipping, like going wild, letting go of his fear.
I will be sure to congratulate him, and I will say something along the lines of, yes, Zane, you are becoming a true warrior now. Well done.
He will be elated at this. And the ritual, the celebration of Kostroma is amazing, an amazing moment for the children of summer to show each other the appreciation they have, the bonds of friendship. What has made this a group of friends? Yes, they might be pagan, but they're not like a cult. They are a family. They care for one another, and you, like a father, look over them. And this has connected them also to those roots of the earth and in nature. Janus is a staunch environmentalist. I mean, supportive of, like, he keeps his area of the river very, very clean. He makes sure that no pollution comes away. Whenever he sees anything floating downstream, he reports it so someone upstream has, even if it's a 5-minute call that makes them feel uncomfortable, anything. He does not let things like that pass by. No transgression of pollutants into your domain. And this is particularly invigorating for the children of summer. And now that they're not in summer, they seek that connection, that thing, that next step that will make them worthy of the sacrifice Zane did tonight. It is Thursday, Matilda, and a knock on your door announces the arrival of a very expected guest.
Open it up. Is it who I expect?
It is. You see Elliot in front of it with holding like a box and stuff in his hands. Like he looks like encumbered. Could you please describe Elliot to the audience?
Right, he's quite a sort of scrawny guy in his probably early 30s, but time has not been particularly kind to him, so he looks a little bit older than that. If he is coming straight from work, he'd be still in his sort of hospital porter's clothes, and he's smiley and nice, but he is also a little bit somber. Doesn't smile hugely.
So he has some like a box and stuff in it. When you open the door, he says, I can explain.
Okay. What? All right, come in. What is that?
Well, I mean, he tries to hand you a bottle of wine.
Okay.
He's like,
grab it from.
I hope this is the one you like. And he says,
yeah, give it a look.
Yeah, it's on the cheap end, but also that's the type of wine you sometimes buy to have in your house.
Yeah, it's all right.
He helps himself to your kitchen, and he puts the box in it, and he says, like, oh, I mean, so I couldn't resist.
What is it?
But someone from the nursing staff was selling this, and he shows it with great pride.
Yeah.
A popcorn machine, like a little air popcorn machine. It's like he was selling this and some buckets and the kernels for 12 quid. All of it, machine, kernels, stuff. And I know you've said you don't like popcorn, but I figured I might not need to buy my microwave popcorn when we're having movie night, right?
It's fine. No, it works out. She's gonna fish in her pocket, go through her wallet and get £6 and hand it over to him. And I'm like, all right, put it up there and plug it in.
Yeah, and he starts making all the arrangements and says like, okay, ready?
All right.
And he turns it on, and it is nice how you hear it, and it's like a glorified hair dryer, but warmer and faster. Moment. And at some point, you see the kernel is so floating. Until then, it explodes everywhere. Like, it doesn't matter if you have the bucket waiting for the popcorn to come. It just sprays, and you're having a laugh.
Yeah.
But eventually, you end up with 2 buckets of popcorn, and you end up with some wine. He has a couple of beers, and you're watching a movie. 2012. I mean, plenty of movies to watch.
I tried to get him to watch Titanic, but...
You want him to watch Titanic. Not tonight.
Not tonight. It's a bit long.
He does say when he's getting ready, like, I haven't seen you in ages.
Oh, I've been doing a play.
A play?
A play. Yeah, no. I'm not in it, but I have to do the lights and the running around and the props and stuff.
What?
It's actually some friends up in Buckley's. That's where I've been a bit more.
Uni friends? Because you've been all over when you're in uni.
Yeah.
Like, you're studying in the day, working in the afternoon, and now you're doing a play in the evenings. If you cancel one of our movie nights, I'm going to be very cross.
No, I won't cancel. We'll just rearrange. You got Tuesdays. You can do a Tuesday.
I don't have every Tuesday. I sometimes have Tuesdays to be with Emily.
Okay, well, we'll do Thursdays and we'll do Tuesdays, like, as a sort of fallback, But
but only on the Tuesdays I don't have Emily.
Yeah, how is she?
She loved the Notebook. Thank you very much. Your friend is very talented. Like that, like, it is a beautiful, beautiful painting. It is, well, painting, I say, a drawing. And now Em has, she liked it because it had a lighthouse. Yeah. But I mean,
you should take her to the river.
I did take it afterward. I took her to the river, but she did like the touch of the lighthouse, because she remembered when we went down to Land's End, before her mom got all weird with me, and I just want to thank you. I mean, I was lost. I didn't know what to give my baby girl for her birthday, and
fine, she's a good kid.
You and your friend did me a solid. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, if she still likes drawing, still likes art, then let me know, and I can keep giving her stuff like that. But I know what they're like. Things change when they're kids. art
but
one day and then it's...
right now, I told her that she could use that notebook to practice her drawings. So she didn't draw my walls all over, because the other day she grabbed my ball pen, and it's.
You just gotta keep an eye on the crayons. Otherwise they go on the wall. Are you alright though?
No, not really. I've been struggling lately. I mean, it's been a bit much, if I'm fair. So I was really looking forward to this, because I leave my phone in my house. I don't, like, when I come here, it's 2 hours of watching a movie and having chats with you, and that's it.
Yeah, I'm glad, and I'll make sure Tuesdays I don't do anything. Thursdays I don't do anything, alright? Because I know what it's like to feel like things are a bit out of control and you need a safe space.
Yeah. But I'll tell you
and
what.
It doesn't have to be Thursday. You're just down the hall. Just knock on my door. Yeah,
but I'm working 2 shifts, so I can then take some days, because I want to have some leave to go to Exmouth with Emily. So.
Right. And take care of yourself, all right? Don't you're not good to yourself. You're not good to Emily if you're overworking.
Yeah, it's okay.
All right. Okay. All right, let's watch this shit film, all right?
What do you mean, shit film? The Earth is gonna blow or something. The Mayans predicted it. And he starts trying to do he has an appallingly bad commentator voice. He's not the kind of guy who goes like, "This year you will find the best." No. He's just gonna go with his very thick accent. Well,
eventually just throw popcorn at him to get him to shut up.
And you have your normal Thursday evening, which for you is sometimes just as it is for Elliot. It is your highlight of the week as well, when you are not dealing, like, this is the day, the 2-hour slot in which you are just you. You can enjoy a movie next to a friend and be human again. Feel at least human again. Opening night goes great. Everything is fantastic, with the exception of some jarring sounds, probably by, I don't know, a violin or whatever, that sounded suspiciously like Nangisel's guitar, but it's just all lies. It wasn't her.
No, it wasn't. Well, I think one of the real showstoppers is when Edgar gets thrown out of civilization and he's chased from pillar to post, and there is the howling of the dogs chasing him, which, of course, if Yanis allows, would be organised by him, and you might get these.
You'll have actual dogs
appearing. Yes, exactly, on every street corner, chasing him from street to street.
What's going to be very, very interesting is that some of the dogs that Janus brings are actually his smaller dogs.
Yeah.
So they're the playful ones, and they are chasing this guy who, of course, he's going to be giving some treats to them, and everybody enjoys that and has a little bit of a laugh. And the actor finds it really, really interesting that these are such well-trained dogs. So, of course, some business for Janus is in the way, and at least one Pomeranian is being sold.
Yeah, well, there are. I mean, another thing for the audience to raise money for the area, obviously, is that there are a series of collectible postcards that they're only sold in specific places, including some of the dogs. So, not all the postcards will be sent to Hubert, obviously, as well.
Oh yes, it is worth mentioning that on everyone's death day, ever since you had that meeting with Hubert, I forgot to tell you this. Hubert would ask for the library records, your birthday and death day, and as he said, he needed that to have a rough idea of how people should look, how old people should look, so they would be able to help with any paperwork or whatever and avoid masquerade, not masquerade breaches. Mascarilla is face mask in Spanish. Tonight English very bad, not bueno, señor. Not is not like the kinder, it's malo. Okay. And to avoid those things. Now, this is something that Hubert does on each person's death day. Every year, you get a postcard of Happy Death Day from the librarian, from Hubert. So this is something he does. And as far as you know, he does this with everyone that he has records of death days. It's odd for Carl because his always says happy birthday, happy death day. And it's slightly like a larger car or something special, because for him, this is for Hubert himself, it's a double whammy.
Mm-hmm.
So no one gets a birthday card from him, but everybody gets a death day card. And it has become a thing for some people who appreciate the gesture to send postcards back to the librarian. Of course, he's not immensely popular. He's not going to receive dozens and dozens, but he does receive a fair few each year.
I do not like being reminded of the fact that I died repeatedly. So when I get these, they just get torn up and thrown in the bin.
Okay. Yeah, you can do whatever you want. I'm just saying that if you want your mementos...
If he wasn't the Herald, I would take issue with him about it. But he's the Herald, so I'm not going to take issue with him about it.
Now, the play has finished. You are exhausted. But for you, it's just the middle of the night. It's like 1 a.m. Everybody is exhausted. Everybody's happy. People have been like... You're riding that high, emotional high of being on a play and feeling there and being the audience. People around it, everybody was pleased.
Has there been a rap party?
Sorry?
Was there a end of show party?
There is sort of like an after party.
Yeah.
It's more like an afterwards social.
Sure. It's an opening night and last night party. So I think there's probably only one show. It's so huge.
Yeah.
I think you can do it.
Yeah. So it's probably being done in a local pub. So that's why at around 1, 2, when they start closing the pub, I mean, the play was earlier, between 7 and 8, ended at around 10 or 11. People went out and drank for a few hours. Everybody feels great. Carl, you move a step towards your ambition. Now, the thing is, there is no aggravated damage on your willpower track. So for those who have been following since Blood on the Thameses, you would know that we have house ruled this. Whenever you work towards your ambition, you usually... You heal 1 aggravated willpower damage if you have any aggravated damage in your track, or you recover willpower if you're missing some. Mechanically, there are many things to do. The thing is that working towards your ambition is something that doesn't happen every time. It's not a very common thing. So once it happens, it needs to feel a little momentous. It's like Carl has made Lockleys a little better through art. People are starting to engage in new activities. Other people have found pastimes. Others have known their neighbors better. And by having people associated by street, sort of like a faction, sort of a brotherhood started there. It's amazingly good because Carl and Janus have been really, interacting with the community, which allows the Coterie to enjoy 2 dots of lien, as you have spent it for Coterie creation. So you always add 2 additional dice to all social interactions with your neighbors. But also, it allows people like Carl and Matilda and Nangisel to work with the community around the neighborhood watch. So you know always which areas are, secure and safe and which are available for hunting. But that gives you information. Sorry, yes, Bex?
I want to join the neighborhood watch.
Yes, that's why I'm saying it. You are the one
Okay,
who
fine.
you are one of the people who spent one of her Coterie dots into domain security into
Okay,
Cortillion. So that's how I'm describing it. You are engaged in the community watch.
And
in the neighborhood watch.
we did maybe discuss that, like the central point of the play. I've rented a house, which was the area which was the kind of the nexus of organization for the play, which has also become the HQ of the Coterie, and it does have a basement in case anyone needs to stay in emergencies, and that sort of thing.
Yes, and that is how the Coterie has slightly gotten a hold not only of your responsibilities but also of the area, and it's starting to feel like the people in Lockleys. I mean, you have done the investment in time and effort, but now the people in Lockleys, if they see anything suspicious, it shows up in Nanjasel's chat on her phone.
Cool.
Also, some of the youngish part of the neighborhood watch, people in their early 20s and such, that work during the day and don't have a chance to do like exercise or workout. Then people who go on a night run at 10 or 11 or whatever, they are also part of the neighborhood watch, again alerting people. So your domain is slightly more secure, not only because you're tapping into certain security feeds that you use, and not only because you have your own systems, but also because you have a neighborhood watch. So you are much more connected to the community, which makes this really, really interesting. You are all back at headquarters, and it's close to 2:30 in the morning. Literally wrapping things up when Carl receives a phone call.
Hello.
Carl, it's Frederick. Can you meet me at the observatory?
Yes, of course.
It's an emergency, so you might want to bring your full coterie with you if they're available.
Right. Well, they're all here with me, so I'll ask them. Well, this is Friedrich. He wants us all to meet him. He says it's an emergency.
Frederick, you will know, is the primogen of the Toreador of the Camarilla.
Yeah.
Reckon you could fit us all in your car, Matt?
Just about.
I think that's fine. Yes, Matilda's very kindly agreed that she can drive us. So where should we meet?
Come to the observatory. From here we can go to Ashton Court. This is. I need you to be there before anybody else. So just come.
Well, we're on the way.
Excellent.
I'll see you in a few minutes.
Excellent.
I'll explain to everybody else what he said.
Okay.
It's not going to be pleasant for me, this trip to the observatory.
Well, no. Actually, it's not going to be bad because the observatory is this side of the river.
This side of this river, but there's a tributary that runs under the centre that we'll have to cross.
Oh, yeah.
To do it.
Is there any way to not?
Yes. So yes.
Yeah, there is. Yes, there is.
So I'll cross off my willpower.
Yes, please.
But I guess it'll be clear to people that I'm not feeling very good.
Yeah.
Do you want to sit in the front?
No, I will deliberately be sitting in the back so that I can try and be invisible as possible about this.
So,
yes, at some point she looks like a little car sick.
Yeah,
it's difficult to tell.
You could just roll the window down.
She probably does that. That's how maybe Janos sitting in the back notices. But it's a quick trip, and Matilda gets you there fast and safe. You get to the observatory, to the lower part of the observatory, and Friedrich is around the area. He's on the area there. There are, on the way up to the observatory, there is like a park, and he's on a bench in that park with a couple more people. Carl would recognize them as fellow Toreador from the faction. And when you arrive and Matilda parks. You, of course, leave the vehicle, and Friedrich approaches you and says, "Thank you, everyone, for coming." And now, Carl, can we have a word for a second?
Yes.
This is where he turns, and when you walk, you move not too far. He just stands and says, "I have dire news, my friend. London,
What is it?
London has fallen."
What?
Yes, we have no details of what has happened. This is difficult, but I imagine
Fallen how? What do you mean fallen?
something or somehow a group, or we don't know if it's a rival faction, enemies of the prince. We don't know what, but the Prince of London is dead, and a purge ensued afterwards. Dozens were killed just at the beginning of the evening.
What? How could this happen?
I have no idea, but I
Is it just the Camarilla kindred who are in trouble, or
there are not many anarchs in London, and yes, they are also in trouble as well. We're thinking it's either a massive attack against all kindred of the city by the Sabbat, or something worse. But the reason I'm telling you is because we have not been able to get a hold of anyone from the Toreador, including your sister's domitor.
Christine she is in trouble?
We don't know.
I'll immediately get my phone out and ring her number.
And he leaves you to it, and he approaches the rest of the coterie and verbalizes the news to you. Apologies, this couldn't be said over the phone, and he just explains that the information he has is exactly the one he just gave Carl.
No, it is correct that this sort of news be delivered face to face.
Carl, all right?
I'm kind of wandering back, and I will
He's
say
calling.
to Nanj, because she will know, and so will Yanis. I will say I'm worried for my sister. She lives in London,
Well, we gotta go get her, right?
and she has well, she's not kindred. She's a ghoul.
Yeah.
So,
If what Frederick said here is right, we just need to go get her and sort this out right now.
well, she's not picking up. I'm still my phone.
Well, that don't mean we can't travel
my
there, does
ear.
it? Where else, Carl? Where else might she go? She was in trouble.
She
Where else
must
would
come
she go?
here. Surely she would come here. I mean, we have our differences, but she knows that I would do her no harm.
Get my phone out. Start phoning people who will be able to tell me about who might be coming into the city, or what is on its way to the city.
Okay. So you start doing those things, and this is the type of moment. And you have been in this situation many times, Matilda, when in the middle of the night something happened, especially with the pickets, and then something dire happened, and you have people walking in and out of conversations. Of course, 30 years ago, people would be walking into someone's house to use the phone and come back, no cell phones. But now, in the middle of a park, you're reliving those days, that uncertainty, that persecution, and you don't quite feel why. Like someone targeted the Camarilla in London, but for some reason you feel attacked by that. Because there's very little information. It's not the Anarchs attacked the Camarilla, it's something attacked Kindred.
Yeah.
The things that the Kindred and Camarilla of London happen to be Camarilla.
I'll probably also join in this phone call business and see if I can get a hold of maybe call Jacinta.
Okay. You don't get a hold of Jacinta.
No,
Not that easy.
that's all right.
Probably Ruby will call you.
Yeah. All right.
Carl, does Christine drive, or she be being driven by someone else?
We
Or
cannot hear
mute.
you,
Oh.
Carl.
You're on mute.
Either one, she has a chauffeur, but she does drive herself.
Right, if she's driving and she's coming up the M4.
Carlos,
What?
when I'm trying to ring her, is it going to voicemail or is it just disconnecting or what's happening?
No, it's just ringing, and then going to voicemail.
Okay.
Well, but while you're having that conversation with Nanjusil, you do get a text from Christine saying, I imagine you've heard. I imagine you've heard the news.
So I'll immediately text back and say, yes, get here as soon as you can.
A very long 5 minutes pass. Fine. It's all you see on your screen.
I'll text back, do you need help?
No. Be there tomorrow.
Okay, I will say good. And then that's it.
Is she safe, Carl?
She going to be all right?
She is on her way.
Why didn't you say
apparently.
we come and get her?
Well, she's on her way, and you know my relationship with her. If I said we're coming to get her, she would make arrangements to do anything but come here.
Well, it is good that she is safe, and
Yes.
soon she will be with you again. That is what is important.
I apologize, Matilda. You do not know my family history,
No, I
but
don't.
we have our differences, my sister and I, but she is still very important to me, as you can imagine.
Oh, I understand. When was the last time you saw her?
About 18 months ago.
Does she know where you live now? Does she know?
Mm-hmm. She knows how to get hold of me. Well, she has my number, but
Okay.
yes, she. We must look after. I will look after her. Put it that way. May not be easy.
Call us.
Yanis. Sorry.
Call us. Who in the city, do we need to speak to get her permission to enter the city?
The library.
Right, I call the library.
Or you turn to Janice.
Yeah. If Janice is someone who can help me do that, then I'll turn to Janice. Yeah.
Yeah. So when someone comes visiting, when you start having that conversation, that's where Friedrich steps in. He says, I believe I can help with that, Nanjusil. Well, not actually help, just clarify what we're expecting. If it is true, everything we've heard, the prince and the higher echelons of the Camarilla being taken out tonight in London, and kindred being hunted, chased, purged from the city, I believe we should prepare ourselves to host refugees.
True.
Is there a policy on that, Jan? Being at the library? Or is it a first come, first serve, in which case we best go down there and get Christine front of the list, right?
Well, she's, as I say, she is only a ghoul. She's not kindred. So
I
she
do
is
not
more-
think they will have great concerns over a single ghoul. But if there are to be many kindred, that is a
Right.
different matter.
Hmm.
And I can tell you that the library will be most unhappy if any more kindred come to Bristol, especially in large numbers. As you're aware, we are already, shall we say, a little too cosy for the size of Bristol.
Yeah, but if they have nowhere else to go, then they have a responsibility.
Friedrich says, well, I'm glad that you think that, but how many people from your faction, Miss Wells, will think this is not a maneuver of the Camarilla to bolster their numbers in the city? After all, we are expecting to receive a number of kindred similar to the one already living here.
There are anarchs in London. They will surely tell their contacts here that this is a true event, at least.
We are expecting some of the anarchs to come, yes. There are not many anarchs in London, but this is one of the important bastions of the anarch movement here.
Well, it is one thing to come requiring sanctuary in a difficult time, and it is another to settle here.
Right.
I'm sure at least we
Yes.
can come to some arrangement in the short term.
They
Well-
might be going off elsewhere afterwards, right? Jan's right. They ain't going to
Yeah.
stay here. And I
Yeah.
don't think the anarchs is going to like it if they do.
Well,
I don't think so.
that's why I called you here. We're
Should
waiting.
not each clan look after their clanmates?
Yes and no. According to the law, the new accords say that we have to have everybody registered for first, and then have people vouch for others. Once that's done, each faction takes care of their own. The problem is that we're going to have a big influx of people, not necessarily all at once, but starting potentially tomorrow evening, even tonight.
Yeah.
That's why I called you here. All multi-faction coteries are being called, because if even a fraction of kindred from London make their way here instead of across the channel to France or Edinburgh or Wales or wherever, we're still talking about 1 or 2 dozen kindred coming to the southwest. So
Too many.
we expect to divide the load amongst the 4 multi-faction coteries, so they
What, you mean we got to put them up?
well, if it's possible for you to provide accommodation for them for a few days in your domain while they're registered in the library, and then their factions take care of them. Yes, we're asking for the multi-faction coterie to take refugees and give them asylum.
And you don't know how many until they start arriving, no doubt.
Exactly. So
Well, is there a plan for how we're going to identify them when they come in? Are we going to ask them to go straight to the library and then...
Well, if they's Camarilla people, they's going to, shout about it, ain't they?
well, we do
It's probably...
have our own Camarilla people trying to get in touch with whomever. If someone arrives from London and says it's Camarilla, let's say they find their way in your domain, just make sure that Carl has a chat with them as a representative of the Camarilla of your coterie, so we can start making arrangements. We do not expect many issues with this. People will want to come, but
I expect many issues with this.
They do too.
I'm in agreement with my coterie.
well,
For a start, we
see
don't know
what we
either
can
when they're going
do.
to stop.
we don't know. We don't know anything. We don't know if we're going to get refugees at all. It looks like the attack was big, was very well timed. And we are heeding the advice of our sheriff on this one. Carl, you will know that the sheriff of the Camarilla nowadays is also the Tremere Regent of Bristol.
Right.
His child is the Primogen. And they have experience with their clan has the experience of the fall of their chantry in Vienna.
Yes.
Ever since then, they have been very paranoid of events like this. And now it has happened in London. So, of course, the Camarilla is preparing for refugees, a perch in London, Huns, the things that happened in Vienna. The other factions are a little bit more reluctant. That's why he says that he doesn't expect issues from the Camarilla people arriving, because they will want to fit in as fast as possible if they're being hunted and chased. They will want to be in the good graces of a city that can protect them.
Yes.
Presumably, if we're putting them up, in the time it takes them to arrive and the library to decide whether or not they can stay, then we're accountable for their behaviour, right?
No.
We got to make sure they keep. We got to make sure they stay in order.
Yes.
Right. Well, then the easiest way to do that is to stick them in a box until the library's made their decision. Then we ain't got to feed them. We ain't got to worry about them breaking the rules. And then, when we know what's to doing with them, we can sort it out. Seems to me like the best plan.
Well, if they don't want to go into boxes, that's different, though.
You could make them go in a box if you need to.
Yeah, but I don't think that's necessary.
I'm sure
it's the cheapest way to do it when you've got this many people coming in.
Look, they're coming from a city. They're being chased out. I don't think they want any more trouble than they already have.
It's not trouble. It's fine for them, right? It's like going to sleep for 4 days.
No, but I don't think they're going to... If we leave them out of the box, I don't think they're going to come in here and be like, oh, I'm out of the box. I'm now going to be a menace to the people who are hosting me. I don't think we're going to have the trouble that you expect.
These are people we're talking about.
Yes.
They ain't people, it's vampires. It's not the same thing.
They might be different for you, but not for me.
They have... I know when you... Nance, you transport our kind, I understand that. And when you do, you put them in boxes. That is fine. But that is not what these people...
I didn't do that?
Well...
One of them jumped out at me and look where I fucking ended up.
Well, Frederick, as much as we of course value your opinion on other matters of the domain, it is up to us to decide what is appropriate. I would propose that we judge each arrival on their own merits. If they behave as a guest seeking sanctuary ought to behave, then we treat them as such. And if they do not, then we place them in one of Nanjazal's boxes.
That seems far more reasonable. I would rather have strong examples made to those showing dissidence from the rules and the tradition of hospitality.
I agree.
Especially when they come in big numbers. Well, let's make our way to Ashton Court. We need to...
Why are we going there?
Well, because that's where the other coteries are and also the representatives of all factions.
We need to go there.
Jesus Christ.
This is something that will affect the city.
It's politics, Nance. You love it.
I mean, you are welcome to stay here if you wish or go back to your domain, but I was asked to call the coteries because, well, this is part of the reasons the multi-faction coteries were created.
Is there more information to be gathered at Ashton Court, or have you already delivered the...
As much information as I could deliver, yes. There is no further information to be gained. It's more of what is the outlook of each faction, so you will have an opportunity to talk to the leaders of each, if need be. The Baron, Teach, the Master Stray, the Baron, and the Prince are there, together with the librarian. So,
Nan, do you want to come?
No, we don't want to come. But it don't look like I've got that much choice, does it?
Seems that decisions will be made there, and we may be able to alter them, or at least influence them, to some extent. Particularly regarding our own domain. We don't want decisions just handed down. As Yanis has said, we want to treat each case on its merits, not just to
We need to have a voice there.
Right, well, if you three are going, though...
We cannot go without you, Nanjazal. You are part of the coterie.
I very much doubt anyone's going to want to hear what I've got to say.
I will want to hear what you have to say.
All right, I'll go.
Personally speaking, I don't mind whether I hear it or not, but you know.
And with that, and a little bit of again,
cross off my willpower.
Yes.
Oh
yes.
God.
A little bit of like her
Well, just FYI, if I have to go home back to Lockleys
That's
today,
enough.
I'll have 0 willpower.
Oh shit! Wow.
No, someone will take you around, so you don't have to, M5
Yeah,
and stuff,
okay.
so you don't have to. If you
Well,
ask Teach,
I'll just stay over here. I'll just keep
you
in the
can
forest or
actually you
something.
can because it's kind of late. It's kind of late, and arrangements are being made. So if conversations need to be delayed for the rest of the evening, you will stay at Ashton Court
Okay.
for the night, and of course. But the conversation with the leaders will have to be after the break. So, big shout out to, again, our tech team,
Hooray.
my wonderful players, and
Yay!
Yeah.
Hey,
and also our production team. I was very, very proud and happy with the job our production team did last week, but I have to say that our internal team, Mitch, Callum, Dylan, and now with the addition of Sam helping me with everything that the Chronicle is doing. Thank you, guys. You're amazing. I couldn't be doing this without you. Sam has created a brilliant map of Bristol and how the factions look and where the coteries are. You will find details and a link on this week's blog post on Sunday.
Yeah.
And last week we had on yesterday's blog post we had a link to the relationship map. And if I were a competent tech cool, I would have the relationship map to show on screen, which means that next week we're gonna have relationship map galore information.
three episodes worth.
3 episodes worth, but at least it will feel, it will feel cozy. It will not be like, oh, they started with a lanky, empty relationship map. No. We're starting up with a bang,
Mate, you're gonna have to give me like 20 minutes to do this update.
Don't worry about it. You'll have the break. I'll give you the break. We'll talk about it. We'll discuss. People will ask questions in chat. It will be amazing.
But it is on the website under ShrekNet Files.
Yes.
It's already there,
if
yeah.
you are watching now and you want to check it out right now, you can do.
So, yes, go and have a look. And just to clarify, our relationship map, we're trying to keep it as away from looking like a spider web. So we're only going to draw connections between the player characters and those SPCs who are relevant to them and their story. Touchstones, Mola, tires, the like. If someone is a friend but it's not a Mola, they will be somewhere floating around but not connected. So you have to pay attention.
I know we're not doing the relationship map update, but I do just want to give a shout out to Manouk because she did a brilliant picture of Hubert, which I have added
so
to the
good.
map.
Thank you very much.
So
amazing.
Hubert the Herald, a quick favorite from that.
Yeah.
So big shout out to Sam for portraying him. There is, So if you have an idea of that you want to draw from one of the SPCs, it will be featured in our relationship map, of course, if you want to provide us that.
You know what I would love? I would love if somebody wanted to design whatever is the domain iconography.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, like Peter and Mitch were
You do,
throwing
I'll
that as an
tattoo it
idea.
onto my face.
Yeah. Peter and Mitch were saying that could be like a good vote for the community. We have the community votes.
100%.
So if people want to go with kindred iconography, design or devise ideas for what would be the Coterie logo and throw them our way.
Yeah.
A logo that incorporates these 4 lovely people, not creepy at all. Popcorn.
Very similar, non-creepy individuals.
Yeah. Throw them our way, and Sam and I will think of something else for the vote. And we left it with our valiant coterie crossing the Clifton Suspension Bridge, much to the displeasure of Nat Giselle,
Man, this suck.
who feels the water drag at her soul. That connection she feels with it. It feels so jarring. It feels like a cruel joke. But regardless, you make it all the way there. True enough, you see everyone that has been summoned. As as Friedrich said, you will see the people from the Southmead Coterie, from the Ewood Coterie, the Brislington Coterie, and you, the Lockleys Coterie. Also, you will see that there are the leaders. You will see Roger Smith, the Baron representative of the Anarchs, Prince Nathaniel of the Camarilla, and the Master of Trade, Teach of the Autarkies, as well as the librarian himself. And after everybody is gathered, it is Nathaniel, the one who speaks. And you see him, he is in much, much better shape than the last time you saw him. For Carl, was odd to see him, be a little bit overwhelmed that night a few months ago when the coterie was formed. But right now he's back to his usual self. Evening, Noel. I wish I could have called you with better news tonight, but sadly we have had, as you have heard, news of the fall of London. As time passes, we get more and more information from those who have managed to leave the city, and it is becoming apparent that what happened in London was a direct attack against all kindred, regardless of faction, affiliation, clan. Doesn't matter. The fear of our sheriff, our Camarilla sheriff, is that it is a similar attack to the ones that have been taking place in other cities in the world, namely Vienna, but there have been others in the Americas and other places in Europe that have suffered attacks. We will be having conversations against the leaders of the faction regarding what our measures are going to be to avoid such attacks here in Bristol. But in the meantime, it is clear that a group of refugees might be making their way to the southwest. We have also heard rumors that this is a situation that has been ongoing for quite a while. Over 10 years ago, there was an incident in Reading. Also, some years ago, there was a similar incident in Manchester. We have heard from the Camarilla in Oxfordshire that there have been activities of groups that were capturing members of our faction there. We do not know exactly what is going to happen, but what we do know is that we should avoid any having the peace of Bristol being disrupted by the repercussions of what transpired elsewhere. So it has been agreed that any and all kindred that are not citizens of Bristol that arrive within the following weeks be taken immediately to Autarky's territory for them to be assigned a place of temporary residence in one of your domains. And as he says that, he gestures at the 4 coteries. Any questions?
I have a question.
Yeah, you're not the only one. A couple of people mentioned that, and but
I do too.
Nathaniel goes with you first, Peter. So, Yanis. Yes.
I am a little puzzled as to why the Autarchis will be deciding which kindred will be going to which domain. Surely it is the choice of the owners of those domains, which kindred are accepted and which are not.
Absolutely. That's why the Autarchis are the ones receiving all kindred. They are the ones who specialize in dealings and trade with everybody. So whenever you are to negotiate which ones you will be receiving, it will be through them. They have the means, the people, and the expertise. Also, and he looks a little hesitant. They can negotiate. And you hear Teach from the back. What he means is that you owe us spoons, lots of them, most of you. So we have conversations, so we cash in those boons. We're the faction that holds more boons with all of you lot. So this could be a good way to get rid of some of them. Then he allows somebody else to have a chat. To have a question. In this case, this is Alison Marchant. You do know her personally, Carl, because until her assignment as member of the Southmead Coterie, she was the Tremere Primogen. And
Right.
child of the sheriff and regent of the Tremere for the Camarilla. She left her post to her brother to become a member of the Southmead Coterie. Seems like you have this information, so in Carl's political mind, this makes sense if the Camarilla wants to have a strong presence in Southmead.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, no one could hold office, so she had to withdraw from being the Primogen. And she does address Prince William the Camarilla way, which for some of the present, especially Ragnar, Chris, or however, by whatever name you know him, one of the anarchs that is kind of detestable. Alison addresses the prince very politely. My prince, you have mentioned my sire has confided in you his concerns. Should Clan Tremere start working in ways of unearthing what has transpired? No, Alison. I do appreciate the gesture, but I believe it is my job to liaise with the princes of other domains that might be receiving people. Definitely Edinburgh, Oxfordshire, perhaps even the Midlands. I have heard from them. We're trying to see what we can make of this before we take action. If there is anything that Clan Tremere can do, I am sure your sire will inform you. And then he turns to Nangisel. You said you had a question, young lady?
Yeah. My question is, what are we doing about this? If this is happening in London, and then in Reading, and in Manchester, we're at war already, whether we want to be or not. We can't just sit here and wait for him to get here and kill us.
What happened in Reading and Manchester were isolated events that happened 10 and 12 years ago. and they were actually targeted at the Nosferatu of those areas.
But you said this was targeted at all of us, right? So whoever they are,
Indeed.
they're not gonna stop coming, and we got to be ready for that.
Indeed, that's why we need to take whatever refugees come and ask them for all the information they have. Right now, we lack information, and they are the best source of it. Yes?
I have a question. So when the refugees come in, we're keeping them in our Tarkus territory. How are we distributing them after that? We get the information that they have. Do the coteries come to you and pick and choose? Are you dishing them out? What are we doing?
The autarkies will communicate directly to each coterie. It's basic dealings. Also, the library is putting forth some of the library domains that are used to hold visitors, but we believe they will be overcrowded fairly soon. The city doesn't see that many visitors at once.
Okay.
And he looks at Nangisel raising her hand again, and he looks at somebody else also raising their hands. So he gestures at Nangisel just to wait. He acknowledges that you raise your hand, but there is a lot of people asking questions. So someone from the autarkies that you know, Nangisel, his name is Alejandro Gonzalez. He says, I have one question. Because our domain is the largest of the Coterie domains. But we do not have that many people to feed from. How do I ensure that all my coterie can provide for these people? Arrangements will be made. Each faction will be helping support, but I believe it is the responsibility of the Camarilla to look after their own. So if your guests are, well, they're most likely going to be Camarilla. If they need to be fed, the library has allowed for some of the Camarilla hunting grounds to be used by them. That is something that the Camarilla will manage internally. But to help you ease the burden while the whole thing blows down. Also, we are not expecting many of them to seek permanent residence in Bristol. Some of them will want to leave to other places, but they would rather feel safe first. So this is we're looking at a temporary measure. And then he gestures back at Nangisel.
I'll say, how are we going to know that people who are turning up are actually refugees and not people posing as refugees come here to do the same thing what they've done in London?
Well, for that, and he turns to the librarian, and he just nods. We have enlisted the aid of the librarian and Cassiel himself. They will be vetting everyone.
I look very relaxed at this.
That is why, yeah, that is why they need to be held in your domains as they are being vetted and registered. But yes, this is very reassuring. If the library, they have the records, and if these two Nosferatu are going to be vetting people.
I'm convinced I might be able to convince the librarian that my plan to put everyone in a box is better than this. So it's fine with me.
So Teach does say we'll be assigning you one mariner to help you. Just someone that you can call and would be literally on call for you should anything happen. Just support from the factions. Matilda, would you care to do an intelligence plus politics role here?
Of course they can.
And also, congratulations for being the first
Yeah.
roll of the
Amazing.
Chronicle. 2.5 episodes
Right.
in, and we're rolling our dice for the first time.
This is if I can get roll
Mana from
20
heaven.
to.
It's the exciting time.
Oh. Yeah, no pressure, no pressure.
No pressure.
Um.
In the
All
meantime,
right, politics but intelligence, right?
yes, in politics with
Yeah.
intelligence, yes.
Okie dokie. Right.
No modifiers, just normal stuff. 2 successes. Enough.
Okay.
You have seen the autarkies putting up, the initial logistics of we take the people and then we try to negotiate with each coterie where do we put them. And if need be, we enforce it with the boons we have. Then you have the Camarilla saying, hey, this is mostly Camarilla people. So if they need to feed, it's not going to be on you. It's not going to be on the other factions. We're going to put this forwards. You have the library saying, we're going to try to expedite this. The librarian, the lore keeper, and the cartographer are going to be working double time. But also the librarian, Cassiel, and their brood is going to be vetting people the way the library vets people. What are the Anarchs doing?
Sweet FA by the sounds of it.
Mm-hmm. The Baron is here. He hasn't even opened his mouth.
Yeah. Does he look unhappy? Does he look
Very.
content?
No.
Unhappy.
He looks, it's very difficult to read him. But he is the type of man that when he's with his friends, and you do know that the prince is his friend, which is super odd, and that he considers Teach to be a jolly enough fellow to hang around, he looks way too stern right now. He's not pleased with probably the number of people that are coming in, all of them Camarilla. And a quick calculation on your mind says, even if it's half a dozen, like let's say 6 to 10 kindred that remain,
Yeah.
you do know that the Camarilla here have, if you were to have like a population pyramid or stuff, it's like, like how many of them are fledglings compared to how many of them are neonates and Scylla and elders. The Camarilla doesn't look like a pyramid, looks like a column. They have pretty much as many elders as they have Ancilla. Well, not as many, but if they have like 5 elders, 7 Ancilla, 8 neonates, 6 fledglings, they are powerful kindred. I'm just saying numbers off the top of my head. Don't take me. Those are not the exact numbers. You would have to ask the library for information on detailed numbers, and for that you would need to book an appointment with Hubert. But you do know that those that come could bolster the Camarilla in a very strong way.
Okay.
Because the vast majority of the Anarchs, even though you're the most numerous faction, you're mostly fledglings and neonates. Yours is it looks like a very flat and squat triangle with a little peak where the 2 elders sit, like 2 or 3. This is entirely like neonates, fledglings, a few Ancilla, and literally a couple elders, and that's about it. The autarkies are more on the Ancilla sort of side of things. This has historical reasons that you don't understand quite well, but they're very few. They're kind of powerful politically, but they always serve to balance things out. Having this, even if it's half a dozen Ancilla coming to the city, will tip the scales in favor of the Camarilla.
Okay. Given this, she'll probably raise her hand again.
Mm-hmm.
And just
Of course,
say,
Nathaniel answers a couple of other questions of people, either people being annoying, like Ragnar, or people being overly cautious, which is a sentiment you can get behind because you're feeling the same. Yes.
I'd like to, while all this is going on, I'd just like to turn on my Auspex.
Premonition.
Well, no, I wasn't really thinking
heightened
of that.
senses. Okay.
Just heightened senses to get just to read people and see how they're all feeling about all these events, whether they're scared, whether they're happy, whether they're fearful or whatever. That's all.
Okay,
and just
so you can
just scope the room.
Do me a resolve plus insight, because I imagine you're taking your time. You're looking at people. You're looking at their body language. It was late in the evening, but some of them had turned on their blush of health because, well, actually, all of you don't need to roll for this. All of you have blush of health because you interacted earlier tonight with mortals, and you made sure that you were well fed because you were going to and looking, rosy. But there are others like that, so maybe their body language might betray them. You can add your aspects as bonus dice, so it'll be resolve plus insight, adding your heightened senses because you're looking at reading body language. Do that as I continue with Matilda, and then I'll come back to you. So
is that? I'm sorry. Is the idea is that we're encouraging them to permanently relocate here, or there will be efforts in the long term to encourage them to go elsewhere? Is this? I'm struggling to understand.
Nathaniel says, "Well, that we have not reached a decision on that matter." And Carl, you do notice the strength, the strain in his voice, and the pursing on the lips of Nathaniel, and the look of a little bit of annoyance on Teach. We have not reached an agreement on that. According to library records, there is a maximum number of people that can be allowed in the city before we are overcrowding it and over abusing the resources, also threatening the Masquerade. There is a balancing point. Yes, the city could potentially hold more people than currently has, but then the threats to the Masquerade are far greater. So we have had to balance it, and the library's exact bookkeeping is what keeps everything in balance. We are potentially seeking. We will try to find, the Camarilla will try to find everything that they can about the refugees and help them relocate to places where they can be with others of their bloodlines. But for those who have a need of a new place to start from scratch, it is up to them. We will not encourage or discourage any behavior, but again, this remains to be agreed with all the other factions. And you realize you just touched on a very delicate issue. You just brought it up. Carl, the sentiment around you for Camarilla people in general, you do see that Alison Marchand, the Tremere, she is concerned. You can feel it. She's not even hiding it, but it's because of what has been said about what her clan has experienced personally and how it has affected her. It's really difficult to read what Dimitrios, the Nosferatu that is in her coterie, has to say, because as a child of Cassiel, his face is deformed, like sort of like caved in, and like the muscles on his cheekbones are sunken. So, and he stays perfectly still. The kind of guy who does not have a need to use blush of health pretty much ever. So reading him is kind of complicated.
Yeah, sure.
Other than that, you see that Alejandro, the autarchies of the Brislington Coterie, and mentioning his domain being sort of like more residential in the southeast of the city, and he says the largest domain, but with little villages or stuff. But that is Ewood. Ewood is tons of farms, but it's not great. Alejandro actually looks eager for some reason. So anything any of you wants to do or say before we move on?
Well, it's worth me saying that if Carl is picking up anything about what Nanj is feeling, then she's feeling concerned and probably afraid, and apart from that, quite depressed. You know, almost like a couple of bits of her soul have been sucked away. But otherwise, that's how she's feeling.
And probably Nanj is the only one that is really easy to read because of that. Because she doesn't have the composure right now or the will to just...
Whatever.
And also, I mean, I know her and Janus best anyway.
Yes.
So I know how they work, probably. Getting to know Matilda. But yes, okay. Well, I'll kind of... I mean, I don't want to say anything to the coterie at this point because we're all there talking to the elders. But I'll kind of stow it away for later, and then I will let them know probably on the journey home that basically this alliance is hanging by a thread, and they're presenting a united front, but really it's not that united, and they're just feeling their way through it, and the cracks could appear at any moment if this doesn't go well. That's what I'll be telling them when we're driving back.
Yeah. Well, I think the rest, they try to keep the meeting brief. A couple of other inconsequential questions come here because the important ones were already asked, and it is said to you like you will be informed within the next night or so of how things are developing. It is mentioned that actually there is like a coterie of the Camarilla was formed to go out and seek out potential refugees that were coming into Bristol. So they will be working on that to present to the library. Sorry, to the autarchies.
Right.
You make it back.
So can I get Matilda to drive back a different way?
Yes.
Yeah.
See,
Likely.
you just drive
Any
up
way
Bridge
you want,
Valley,
Nan.
drive up Bridge Valley Road because it's just quicker. I mean, it's not quicker.
It's not quicker.
It's not.
That's just quicker. I'm like,
Matilda
Shut
knows.
up, I was born here. I know.
Yeah.
all right.
No, Matilda knows it's not quicker. I mean, she drives around all the time. But you reckon that maybe Nan just wants to have a conversation in the car, and maybe she wants a little, a slightly longer conversation.
I'll take some. With that in mind, I'll take some ridiculous suburban road. That goes all...
Yeah.
So we'll have crossed over the bridge. So by the time you've crossed over the bridge, I'll be like this in the car.
Dropped.
Really
Completely
depressed.
Yeah,
really. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I doubt I know anything about this, but while we're going over the bridge, I will be telling you, basically what I kind of gleaned from my my insights.
And what do you advise, Carl? You always have opinions about how things are going, and
yes, we must tread extremely carefully. I think this is to me, our coteries, these joint coteries that they've come up with, and I think we're lucky because I think so far we have got on in spite of our coming from different factions. I've known two of you for a long time at least, and Matilda and I, in spite of our differences, seem to get on. But my feeling is that we could so easily be scapegoated for this whole thing.
Probably that's what's going to happen, isn't it?
And we must take steps to avoid that. Now, I don't know how many of these refugees we're going to get, I was thinking perhaps that we could suggest to the locals that there is some kind of exchange scheme of community theatres from London to here to that, just to clarify why these individuals are hanging around with us. We're now known in Lockleys.
Where are we going to even put them?
Yanis?
I mean, they can't all go in Yanis' house, can they?
No,
Well, it will depend how many are given to us, and depends if they are suitable to stay at my house. But I do not object to them on account of numbers. It is more on account of character.
Well, it's too late to do anything to
tossers, Jan.
Yeah,
I
don't know.
If anyone has any agents that could look into things through the day, I don't.
Well, Log can do that.
Then and then perhaps we could look into empty buildings with basements or places that can be hired quickly, rented. I don't know how many people we're going to get.
Well, do you want me to get him to do it then in the morning?
Might be a good idea.
All right.
I'm sorry you're feeling so down.
Lunch.
Well, it's shit, innit?
Yeah, it is.
Everything about this life is shit. And then top it off, it seems like everyone in this city thinks the best thing in the world is sticking every meeting we have over the other side of the fucking river. Stop texting Lug.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just telling him to do what Carl said.
Okay, so he will not text back until he wakes up, but
No, that's
when
fine. I don't
he
even
does,
consider what the time is.
it's around 4 a.m. now. 4:30. You're driving.
I can't remember what time of year you said it was.
Right now is October.
Oh, okay. So we've
September,
got
October.
couple of hours.
October.
We've got a couple of hours till
I have it
dawn,
written
eh?
down.
At least we know, given
16th of October.
There we are.
given the arrangements that the Autarchus are carrying out, that any unknown kindred who appear on our borders are doing so without sanction.
True.
Seems that way, doesn't it?
Nevertheless, I think we should be on our guard there.
You seem pretty keen about having the right kind of kindred, and I understand why, because it's your domain, but does that mean you're going to be wanting to go down to the library and sort of cherry pick them? Are you quite picky?
That's an interesting idea. I imagine the Autarchus will have opinions about who will go where. But yes, it might be advisable if we were to show some enthusiasm, then it might mean we might have some choice over who we receive.
I am happy always to show enthusiasm, as you know.
Yeah.
Yes, Carl, I think you would be well placed for a task like this.
I would be
Bit
glad
late
to
for
go down
enthusiasm.
and have a lovely conversation with Hubert. Perhaps take him some pretty postcards, and then maybe we would that would help as well. But it might be difficult to get an appointment with the Autarchus, much as they are currently in the doldrums. I would suggest that Nanj might talk to Teach about who might be conducive to peace of these refugees, and might therefore want to come to Lockleys.
Suppose I could talk to him if you want.
Or perhaps I could accompany you.
And my thought is that the Autarchus.
You, Carl, if you're happy.
Fine. Yeah. That would be good. I mean, my thought is that the Autarchus in each of the coteries will be talking to Teach and pushing their own area as being the one where all the troublemakers don't go. But but we can only do our best.
Well, I'm sure I'll be able to find a fuck about it in the morning or in the evening.
Understood.
Then
Are
I
you
go
all
with
right, Nandazal? You don't seem
No.
your usual self. If
No.
these matters are weighing heavily on you, perhaps a walk somewhere might help clear your head. It's been a while since we've walked by the river, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Yeah, it has. You might be right, that might work.
Don't we drop you off somewhere?
Yes, that will be most kind of you, Matilda. Thank you.
Alright. I'll swing back around and figure out a place based
Don't
on
cross
my
any more
yams.
rivers.
without crossing.
Across all the rivers I can, and then really just ruin Ganja's life. No. I'll find a nice sort of well-lit spot for them. Well, not well-lit, but somewhere they can have a walk.
A normal spot. Yeah. Nanjacel and Janice will tell you where to drop. Where to drop them. And we will get back to Nanch and Janice. It's just the Camarilla Toreador and the Anarch Ventru in the car.
Hey!
What could go wrong?
Are there any conversations you're going to have? Or are you going to make it like, polite but tense?
No. Do you want to go back to yours, Carl? Or...
Yeah, sure. Thanks. Well, we can. I mean, I would have thought it might be best for me to sleep in the basement of the HQ tonight or today, because of wanting to be there immediately in the morning.
Yeah, it's shit. Yeah.
Like,
do we?
I think. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that would probably be better than going to the center of town and having to get out there and organize things, because if Nange's friend has sorted out some sort of places that might be possible, then the first thing we will want to do is vet them, unless there are refugees coming already. And also, if my sister arrives, then really we need to
get a text
her
from her after the one where she said she was fine. Did she tell you anything else?
No, I wouldn't have expected it, to be honest. We have had, as I say, a checkered past. She's a difficult person who I care deeply for, but
she's kindred as well.
She is still mortal, although she partakes of the blood.
That's different.
I mean,
mean,
yes.
And you don't know, Matilda, how you feel about that. Like, there's a lot of people that do ghouls, but the blood bond is what bothers.
Yeah.
Like having a blood bond. I mean, anarchs are free to do what they want, but some of them feel very strongly against the bond. And
would I know this?
You would know that not all factions see the blood bond as the Camarilla does.
No, sure.
Definitely. The autarkies and the anarchs do not engage in the bond ghouling or amongst kindred in the same way.
Right.
So in the Camarilla, it's more common to find people blood bound to each other. Not so in the autarkies, and much less so in the anarchs.
Well, I will say to Matilda in that case, I will say I would like to make it clear, firstly, that I am not her master. And secondly, that she wishes this fervently. This is her decision.
Why?
Well, that is up to her, and it is partly to do with my family's history.
I mean, if you don't want to say it, then you don't have to share, but
well, she was, shall we say, when I was sired, she thought it would be her. and was disappointed.
Wow. Okay. That explains why there's some tension between you.
Mm-hmm.
So you knew about Kindred before this all happened?
I didn't. I don't know if she did. But yes, my family is linked to my clan. So some say we're kind of Giovanni light, I suppose. But I don't think that, personally.
No. Well, I hope she gets back safely. You know, if she's not with her master, then
Who knows if her master has even survived this? And
yeah.
and if they haven't, then she will be ricocheting around. Something I am slightly worried about.
Good that she has you.
She has, yes, she does. She may not want me, and her temperament can lead her to be rather a loose cannon. So we need to be
Family is
careful.
important. So
It is. Do you have any family still living?
not really. Well, a couple, but I don't see them very much. So that's all really.
Understood.
Yeah, is what it is.
Well, we all have our own little proclivities. Let's put it that way. And,
that's all right. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Back to the domain. Carlos, do we have time? If I drop him off, do I have time to get back to BS3, or should I kip in the domain as well?
Well, depends. It's gonna be. It would be tight. You could make it. You could just drive slightly faster and ignore a couple of lights here and there. But it's more to please your own sense of urgency, because you do feel your body becoming a little bit more lethargic as the night approaches, as the day approaches. The HQ, as Josh was explaining, it is not a magnificent place. It's a good sort of like a office space, kind of in a semi-detached block of houses. But it's actually really conducive of you having it has a little bit of a basement that has been sun-proofed, of course, and divided into small rooms, and then the main area is mostly like a big reception for you to talk. Also has been sun-proofed just in case. So it would be fairly simple matter for you to spend the day there and then drive back home if you do not wish to risk it.
I will not risk it. I'll just kip there as well.
Okay. Back where Nan, Giselle, and Janus have been dropped, you can feel it there, Nanj. Now that you have felt the waters chafe at you. Now you're in front of the river and you just close your eyes and smell the waters. And this is one of those moments in which you are thankful for that little coincidence of having to use your blood to rouse it into action, to give you the semblance of life you needed to play the guitar in front of others without looking like a corpse. It comes with sometimes this nice side effect. Smells are there, like scents, the smell of the running water, of the wet dirt and grass after the rain, and the sound of it. It's just as when you were looking upon the waters with your dad. And how happy it would make him just to be there, how content he felt, sitting there in silence. And that's when you knew you were happy with him, when a long silence was never uncomfortable, when you were together.
been a bit of a shit night, hasn't it, Jan?
Well, I suppose so far, but the sun has not yet risen.
Well, I suppose that's something to be thankful for, isn't it?
Hmm.
Didn't used to have this trouble, you know.
What trouble?
Water.
I thought you worked with the water as part of your business.
Well, yeah, it is.
Hmm.
But that's why I gets lugged on me. This is all right, you know. Walking along by the side of it,
Hmm.
it's nice.
Yes.
I always liked the water. It was always a place where I felt most at home.
Hmm.
You know, you could sit and look out over it for hours and never see the same thing twice. But it changed. It changed when Sally made me like this. Can't do it no more. Or only not easy.
Hmm.
You can't. It's hard to explain. It's like standing here is like standing on the edge of a precipice. But if I was to walk out and over it, it's like grating your fingernails along my soul. Just, it sounds stupid, doesn't it?
No, not at all. Not stupid. Sounds to me central, important, in fact. You are describing to me your love of the water, that it is a spiritual thing for you.
Right, that's
It
it.
is also sacred to me. So, of course, I understand that feeling. Yet you're also saying that for some reason, something is interfering with that love you once had.
Right, it's like, I don't know, it's like there's a barrier or something.
So what has changed? What has changed from the time when the water was dear to you to the time now where it is difficult for you?
No. I died, didn't I? That's when it changed. I don't suppose it'd be any different, you know. It's just it's hard, you know, when all the ways you got of keeping calm suddenly are gone from you. You know, I used to swim in the water. I used to spend all my time in and out of it, and now I can't do that. I always felt like I was something else, something different whenever I came out. You know, like water transforms things, right?
Yes, it does.
But now
So I think
I'm
there is
stuck.
part of you that understands certain things that many people do not. Instinctively, I mean. And,
Like what?
well, you understand that water can change you. You understand that it is sacred, spiritual. You have never studied such things, but it is simply something you know.
Right. Well,
It'll
it's
reach out,
obvious.
sort of point towards her heart in
Okay.
there. Because some things cannot be told, they have to be known. And this knowledge in you, I think, is important. And I think perhaps, well, this may be a test of some kind.
A test?
Hmm.
Well, if you're right and it's a test, that means I can pass it. What means I can overcome it.
Yes, it does.
Well,
I would suggest to you, you describe this feeling of being on the edge of a cliff
right.
when you are by the water, and that to go out is frightening,
right.
but is also what you want, and it is the fear that keeps you back. Sounds to me as if you are describing a leap of faith.
I hadn't thought about it that way. But then if I was to take it,
yes,
what would happen?
Wow.
What if I fell? Well, what would happen if I didn't fall? Because you know about these things, right? And you're right. Anyone who spends the slightest amount of time near the water has to be able to see this, right? Only a fool wouldn't recognize it. So, but you must know what's on the other side, Jan.
Do you think if I told you, it would help?
I don't know.
Some things cannot be told, Giselle. They must be discovered.
If there's a test, then you probably best not tell me.
It is a test of your faith, and nothing I tell you will make any difference to that. So, my question to you is, are you ready for that test? Tonight. Here.
Tonight?
Under the sky.
Yeah.
Well, then let us find a good spot.
All right.
Is Nanjasel genuinely wishing to test her faith? Like, well, is Nanjasel genuinely wishing to give this leap of faith, or is it that she's probably impaired with, and depressed and all that, or is this some? So my question is this her coming to this test and conclusion because she's malleable now that her power has been chipped away, or does she truly and genuinely would like to give it a go because she has been curious for a while of Janice's faith? So which one is it?
I think it's a bit of both, actually.
Okay.
But I think it's probably more towards the second thing because they've known each other for a while.
Okay, that's good.
So I don't. But it would be wrong to say that the willpower issue is not a factor, right?
Yeah. But it's more of her trying to see what is it that Janice means with his faith, but also she needs that. She needs that.
Yeah, she doesn't want to feel like she feels.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Peter.
So I'll take her. I mean, if we're close to my haven or my domain, I might go to the water there because I know it's safe.
Yeah.
But if not, I'm happy to go to any river.
No, you probably were asked to be left.
Yeah.
Near-ish your domain, so you could have a walk towards your haven. As Matilda and Carl drove around because they would have to go on the other side of the industrial area, to get to the offices, to the HQ.
So I will go down to the edge of the water with her,
right?
And I will say, "Can you remember what you loved most about the water?"
Yeah. You need me to tell you?
I don't need you to tell me anything, Giselle, but I would like to know.
I like that it was quiet. not just that it was quiet, but it wasn't just quiet like out loud. It was quiet in my head. It wasn't going to make a judgment about me. It was only going to judge me based on what I did, on how strong I was. It wasn't going to listen to other people's words. That was what I liked most about it. Now I feel like it is judging me. That's why I can't pass.
Well, seems that you certainly have the desire to leap. Let us see if your faith is strong enough to make the landing. He'll hold out a hand to her.
I'll take his hand.
Okay, he will walk with her very slowly into the water.
Oh, I mean, you will have recovered one point
What a nice storyteller.
Well, the thing is that she that's why I asked the question. So this is not just so fulfilling her desire. Mechanically, gain 1 willpower back. Now, the thing is that Janice wants you to walk into the water, so you might need to spend it back.
Just be getting rid of it again.
Easy come, easy go.
I mean, I'm the nice storyteller. Just blame your
this
coterie
is
mate.
on Pete, right?
This is on
It's-
Peter.
yeah.
Totally Janice's fault.
Sorry. Dick move incoming. So I'm gonna. So I'll take her into the water very, very slowly, very calmly, until we're both kind of standing, probably, hip deep in it or something like that.
The water feels cold. It is as you remember it, Nanjacel. Because again, you had your blood flowing through your body, and now the coldness of the water, it bites at you. But holding Janice's hand, so you know that even if your soul is dragged away with the current, your body won't be. You are sort of. It feels odd. It feels like a little. It feels odd to admit to yourself that you like the little bit of pain and numbness. Because it reminds you of those winter trips to the seashore when you were a young kid, and you would jump at the water and feel the sting of 1,000 icy needles in your body, and then you would run outside to the shore, to the arms of your father, who would wrap you around with a big towel and just hold you there as you shivered, and you feel yourself shiver, and your lips, you feel them cold, you think they're turned purple. Janice?
So he'll wait with her for a while. He won't immediately say anything. He'll still be holding her hand, but he'll just stay in the water with her for a few moments. He's pretty chill,
I can't believe I'm standing here. What? Yeah, it doesn't feel like what I thought it would.
It rarely does. But now that you are here, do you feel strong enough to remain? Or do you need to return to the shore?
It feels like when I was a kid. So I could have stayed here all day when I was a kid.
Well, perhaps you will do so again. For I see you are ready for the test now.
What, this wasn't a test?
No, this was just to see if you were ready for the test. And you have shown me that you are. For we are now standing in the realm of Kostroma. She is a protector. She gives sanctuary and peace to those that play and give to her waters. And there was once a time, long, long ago, when Kupala was attacked by the vile sun and set aflame, and he dived into Kostroma's waters. And Kostroma's love for Kupala was such that she protected him, so that the rage of the sun could no longer burn his flesh. If you are a true friend to Kupala, and if your faith is strong, then Kostroma will also protect you from the sun's wrath. Your test is to stay with me in the river when the sun comes up, so you might enjoy it as you did as a child.
Nigel
You're
knows
right.
that at certain depth, the sunlight is not a problem. She also knows that depth around the Bristol area is around 25 meters deep.
Yeah, it's not like
It's not hip dip. You need to be like 25 to 30 meters down in around the areas of Bristol. If you are in a place like the Bahamas with like really clear waters, you might need about 50 meters in depth to completely blot out the sun. This is not it.
I'll say. So, are you saying that? Are you saying that this god will keep us from dying when the sun comes up?
I am saying that it is in her power to do so to those that are faithful.
We're just standing here and that.
No, we will submerge ourselves in the waters, of course.
Right. All right, let's do it.
You're sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Then let us take this leap of faith together.
All right, let's do it.
Janus starts saying something in a language you cannot understand. You have heard him speak Polish. This doesn't sound like that.
Okay.
Peter, could you please do a roll of your...
Yes, I can. Well, I can try. I would like
mess up your roll.
I would like to call upon my divine powers for this roll. Brackets rouse.
Yes, cool. So you add your modifier to it. It is dark depths.
Yeah.
Stamina plus sorcery.
Yeah.
Someone out there in the community might get ready to draw another picture of a new character.
Yeah. All right. I am gonna submit that. And I could spend a willpower on that, couldn't I?
Yes, you could. yes, totally.
Please do.
Now remind this old man how I do that.
Go to the top where your willpower track is and just hit willpower WP reroll.
Oh, perfect.
And I believe you can reroll up to 3 dice.
3, yeah.
Yeah, 3 dice actually.
Yeah. Perfect. There we go.
That is very good. 6 successes gives enough, like plenty actually. It's plenty. You hear Janus say all of these things. And at some point, he holds your hand closer to his chest, and then with his thumb and his nails. And now you figure out, like, well, the man has slightly pointy, sharpie nails. He just cuts himself and holds you in his embrace as he goes down. And the both of you submerge. Janus's faith allows him to give himself, a little bit of himself to Kostroma. If he pays the sacrifice, he knows. Any body of water big enough to hold him, completely submerge him, will be darkened, obscured by the strength of his blood. And it becomes pitch black. When the sun comes up, that small landing next to the river, outside of the main current, is completely darkened and still. It's not disturbed by the running waters. Mortals around it could wander around, but this is Janus's domain. No one will pass. And in the embrace of Kostroma, Nangisel finds herself being able to sleep. And for the first time, dream pleasant dreams since she was embraced. And I believe that is where we're gonna leave the session. Thank you very much to our players for
Thank you, Carlos.
the
Yeah, thank you, Carlos.
also especially very brave Bex to just say yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
I'll be here. I don't know what this old man is doing.
Yeah.
This is
Call
weird.
Call this playing to lose.
But it was nice. Thank you again to our lovely patrons who make this possible, and also to you who are watching or listening. If you're in the podcast, but you totally should come and watch us live. And thank you to our lovely tech team and our moderators who have been like sending me messages whenever there's like a freeze, or whenever like someone pops out and I have to do tech ghoul stuff. I hope my panicked face doesn't show on video, and if it does, it's because I'm sexy. So I think I'm gonna be seeing you tomorrow. Join us for episode 3 of season 1 of Blood on the Severn. See you next Monday. Until then, have a good night. Bye.
Bye.